Welcome back to Home Track Heroes here on the CW11. This segment brought to you by Gundy's Auto Recycling, your official auto recycling center of Evergreen Speedway, the Northwest #1 supplier of recycled auto parts with thousands of vehicles, 3 yards, 9 warehouses, and 1 million parts. Gundy's Auto Recycling.
And if you need parts for a super stock figure 8 car you want to get together, there's the place to go. As we have just over 10 laps remaining, as Dawson Cox has a nice, comfortable lead, if you can put it that way, over his dad, Steve Cox. But it's figure 8 racing. You never know when something can happen. As we see Quinn Borson squeaking through the intersection right there. I think we have an exciting 10 laps ahead of us if these cars are going to stay this off-centered. As just squeaking through does your leader, Dawson Cox, and that is what figure 8 racing is all about.
Man, the one field, the one class, figure 8 racing, where a spread out field does not do the leader any good. Dawson Cox experiencing that right now with his light flashing before his eyes coming out of the left, and he's going to check up.
Ooh, hard
that
break.
allows Steve Cox. Here he comes.
Hard break, and there goes that nice, comfortable lead I just mentioned about a lap ago, as Steve Cox is now all over the back bumper of his son, Dawson Cox. And Dawson, I think, driving a little too hard. He's going to get really loose, maybe a little bit of bumper, and they're going to play nice for the moment with still 8 laps remaining. As that intersection, they have a 3-pack of cars in front of them. That is definitely not what Dawson Cox wants to see, and they're 3 competitive cars too. That's the part about it. They're no slouches. They're going to race hard. As that's Mackenzie Dietz that just squeaks by the front bumper of Dawson Cox that time.
I'm just amazed that Dawson ended up not taking out the Uke tire as he was coming around that corner. That was an amazing save, much less look that. Wow.
A little bit of a tap right there. He did get Mackenzie's bumper that time as she spun out off the intersection. She gets it fired back up, as that's just one casualty as they still are just barely getting by. This is quite the battle between father and son, as they still have 6 laps remaining and still got to get through the intersection as many times.
Oh, look at that. This is going to be fascinating as we're coming down to the very tail end. Cox has got to navigate, Dawson Cox that is, has got to navigate the intersection right and hold off his dad at the same time. Wow, Steve just barely escaped that one.
As this is coming down to be one of the best family finishes we have this year. That's a lot of bumper from Steve Cox all over Dawson, just trying to loosen up the 13 any way he can to get a run on the inside. But like we mentioned, figure 8 racing, it's so hard to get on the inside because it changes every corner. So smoking up the tires as they go down. This is quite a long green flag run too for these guys. So those tires and brakes have got to be hot.
Oh boy, you saw Steve starting to lean on him a little bit in the South Pole as well. That front bumper getting applied as he doesn't want to lose to the kid. Can't let the kid show up the old man as they'll get again into the South Pole. We're down to 3 to go. It just keeps getting better.
And both these cars are borrowed equipment, might I add, so they're definitely going to be pushing everything to the limits right now because they don't have to go home and fix it. They can do anything they want to the vehicles, and as long as they can get it across the finish line, that's all that matters right now to them. Is we got some low-up traffic in front of them.
Oh, that helped.
Yeah, that's going to help your leader, Dawson Cox, just enough with the 72 of Jeff Talbert slowing up in front of him.
They borrowed equipment, but that doesn't mean they're not going to go through and try to go. Look out, Stelz! Right in front. There goes Steve Cox up and around.
And that's all it took. Coming to the white flag, Dawson Cox just puts a little bit of bumper back to Steve Cox, and Steve Cox is around. Not quite got the white flag yet, and I think Dawson might have killed it trying to get it fired back up.
And yet they're still leading. They're still 1 and 2. That's how far it was in front. It's Steve, it's Dawson coming into the South Pole for the final time.
Going around the intersection, they got to make it through one more time. It's been treacherous. Steve Cox leading just his second lap the entire race. Dawson all over his back bumper coming to the line. It's going to be Steve Cox the spin and win.
Wow. What a fascinating finish as Stelz comes around in 3rd. I don't know. If that was my dad, I would have dumped him for the win. So.
Yeah, I think I'm going to want to take a look at that just one more time.
Why not?
Steve Cox first, Dawson Cox second, Mike Stelz in 3rd, and that was one of the most exciting Superstock figure 8 finishes I think we've had all year. That might outrival the photo finishes. Here we go. That was the Talbert incident that allowed Dawson to get a little bit bigger of a lead going into the South Pole, but then here comes the 3rd place car, Mike Stelz, to the intersection. They both do the, are you braking, am I braking, are you braking, and that's all Steve Cox needed to get the lead.
Yeah, interesting scenario there with your 3rd place car and a veteran of Cox, and then Dawson gets in, taps dad, kills the race car at the same time. Wow, just a fascinating sequence that happened there over that last little run.
And I think Dawson killing the car might have been what he needed, because I think he probably would have got the black flag if he would have ended up taking the lead over that. So he could have killed it. He could have just waited for Steve to get the lead back, and coming around the North Pole just one more time. What a finish. Let's head on down to the Angel Wins podium and hear from these two.
Does that say first on it? I thought Dawson might have grabbed the first on you. So great race out there. First off, you're the points leader in this division, Monroe Grocery Outlet, Superstock Figure 8s, points leader. And obviously, as Dawson said, maybe an opportunity to pass, but it wasn't the way he was going to do it. You recovered. You had such a good lead, though, ended up taking the first place trophy tonight.
First off, I wasn't going to beat him. He was way better than me. I caught him in the intersection, and I was just kind of shaking him a little bit. And then that last one, here it is. I got him, and then he got me. Remember, I don't know, it's probably about 20 years ago, me and Malcolm Limmer got together. I dumped him, checkered flag lap, figure 8 nationals. I'm like, I can't pass him. I can't pass him. I let him collect it. He won. I finished second. My son remembers.
So tell us a little bit what it's like to race with your son, because it's not a common occurrence out here in this division, but tell us how much fun it is and what it means, first and second, father and son.
Yeah, you know, that's twice now. He's beat me twice, and now I've got him twice. I'll tell you, I'm a little older, so I'm like 30 years older than this kid, and so it's amazing to be able to race with your kid, and I love it. You know, it's something that I never would have dreamed of, and I'm proud of him.
So he has 2, you have 2. Who's going to win the tiebreaker?
Oh, it's going to be his old man, right? Yeah, you don't know. Youth will probably gain on this, but yeah. First off, I like Tommy for the car. Without him, I couldn't do it. Even better off, my daughter's racing in Wenatchee, racing her truck, and I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. And Tommy's like, I will take care of her. He goes over to Wenatchee. He's crewing it. He's radioing. He's doing that for our family, and I appreciate it.
Dawson Cox, ladies and gentlemen, 13 in second place tonight. So I heard a few people asking as I walked down the stairs, but who's the 32 in your life? What's that? His name is Steve, I think, right?
Yeah, I've known him for like, I'd like to say 22 years. You know, he's my dad. I got into him at the white flag, and I was like, I tried to hit the brakes, and I just got a little excited, and he looped it, and I killed the car because I wasn't going to pass him like that, because it's a matter of pride, I guess. I don't know. But I was glad he got it going, and I had a lot of fun tonight. I got to thank Bruce Bueller for letting me drive the car. It's his. He does all the work. I just show up and drive. It's a pretty good gig. Got to thank Black Thunder Transport and Calvin Miller and the Miller family for giving me some Pedialyte earlier. That was awesome. And yeah, everybody else that helps me get to where I've gotten.
You know, Mike, I could have a few questions for you, but I think we both agree that maybe that first and second was pretty exciting. But you had a great race out there. You worked towards the back of the pack and showed yourself really well out there for the third place tonight.
Yeah, I know. I got to thank Bill Fleischacker. He's let me drive his car this year. He's got a work injury, and we made a few changes to the car in the last couple of weeks, and it's picked up some speed.
Who else do you need to thank for being out here tonight?
I got to thank Sound Stump Removal, Hot Rod Ink Tattoo in Snohomish, and lots of other people. All the fans come. I'd like to say happy birthday to Eric Allison. Today would have been Eric's birthday.
Well, off of that fantastic finish there in the Superstock Figure 8, side note, Mike looks really strange without facial hair. But we'll move on. Stinger 8's coming up next. More Figure 8 action here at Evergreen Speedway. And, hey, if they can replicate what we just saw, we're in for a treat.
Exactly, yeah. So we're going to shrink the cars down a little bit, put the 4 cylinders in them, and let them go at it the same course of Figure 8s, as they have been a great class all year long. The young Jackson Beckel, he's been one to watch for sure, but let's get to know your entire starting lineup on the front row. We got the 13 of Tyler Draper, sponsored by SRP Transportation, and to his outside, the 11 of Sierra Goss.
You mentioned Jackson Beckel. He'll start inside row number 2, the JBR Racing number 18J. Next to him, Michaela Larson, the PCOS Challenge number 57.
Row number 3 is made up of the 40 of Andrew Reinders, and to his outside, the 73 of Derek Myers, sponsored by Stepmom and Dad.
Pretty killer row number 4, right out of the frying pan and into the fire for Dawson Cox in the 19C. And next to him, in the 8th starting position, Damon Claiborne, featuring feature winner already in the night, the Reardon Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram of Monroe, number 43.
And in row number 5, rounding out the field, we got the 46 of Mike Hathaway and the 70 of Brandon Lindbergh, sponsored by Cox Racing Wheels. So car owner going against the guy who's been unstoppable all year long, Dawson Cox and Brandon Lindbergh. They're going to have to come from the back, though, as we got Tyler Draper and Sierra Goss leading us to green.
All right, they'll make their way around the North Pole. The ticker says 64 laps to go. I don't think that's quite right?
Yeah, I think that'll update itself as we're going to go green right here. As it'll update itself. 30 laps for these guys as we got done with the 64 laps for them last time out. As Tyler Draper with a pretty good lead already getting around and clearing the lap traffic. Michaela Larson squeaking her way in there in the 57 car.
She just had this window open up big for Michaela, and she stuck the nose right in, made her way through, and already up to second. Good move by Larson as things are gonna get busy in the South Pole.
Yeah, that was the 40 of Andrew Reinders getting a little bit of a back bumper from the 73 of Derek Myers, and thankfully they're all able to keep it straight and calm for now, but it's figure 8 racing and they won't stay calm all night.
Oh no, definitely not, as you've already got cars washing. They're almost 3 wide, and figure 8 3 wide does not work car around.
Yeah, it looked like Sierra Goss got a little bit wide and came back across the traffic, and Derek Myers was the unfortunate benefactor out of that. He looked like he got hooked on Damon Claiborne's bumper, and he went for a ride right there. So we'll get them all lined back up, and hopefully things will calm down as we still have Tyler Draper leading Michaela Larson with Jackson Beckel in third.
Draper, Larson, Beckel, 1, 2, and 3. The 40 car, the all-white car, is Reinders sitting in the 4th spot right now as they'll start working their way through the intersection. And again, as the field spreads out, the chaos ensues. They'll have to start checking up and kind of timing their cross.
And there goes the ticker getting updated. Now 26 laps to go, not 60. Don't worry, we're not going to send these cars around that many times again. As Tyler Draper still up front. Mike Hathaway, he looked like he had a little bit of incident. He was down there talking to John Peterson for a second as he got his car turned back around to the North Pole. As Jackson Beckel still hanging out on third, and I'm surprised he wasn't able to get a better jump off that restart, being able to start right behind your leader. So tough break there for the 18J of Jackson Beckel, but he's hanging tough so far.
Well, your leader isn't too far out. I mean, within 1st to 7th, you're still kind of within the same set of corners at this point in time. Now, they are starting to come into the intersection. We've already seen some of the slower cars have to check up with the lead pack coming through. It'll make for a fascinating back half of this race.
Yeah, get these cars spread out enough, and we're going to have some exciting intersection action for sure. Mike Hathaway there in the 46. A little bit of bumper damage to the back bumper cover, looks like. It's hanging off a little bit, but he's going to go high and let your leaders race on through. So doing the courteous racing move there is Hathaway in the 46s. Michaela Larson all over the back bumper.
She's been super impressive in the early stages of this race. Now, as the 46 kind of tucked into line there, that hoses the battle for third as you're taking a look at it coming off the corner, although they end up getting through. So Beckel holds on to it. Reinders had a chance as Beckel was kind of stuck for a minute or two, but couldn't take advantage, and look who's coming.
Yep. Dawson Cox, Brandon Lindbergh, and Damon Claiborne. So those are probably the 3 strongest guys in the field that we've seen in recent races. Claiborne, he's been struggling on this figure 8 track, but he's off of some pretty good momentum, winning the Hornet A main event earlier. So that 43 is going to be one to watch for. Jackson Beckel getting a bumper full from Reinders. So it looks like Jackson's just not quite able to get as good a drive off, but Reinders going to have not as good drive off either when his back bumper is getting lifted up by the 19 of Dawson Cox.
Yeah, Cox gave him the old chrome horn, albeit not a whole lot of chrome left on that horn, as he's right in on the back of Reinders once again. Reinders right up on the back of Beckel as you could nearly throw a blanket over those 3rd, 4th, 5th, and now tucking into 6th position cars.
Yeah, it's a very, very competitive field. Not the highest car count we've seen with these Stingers 8 this year, but I mean, that top 7 right there is all pretty close nose to tail as they start to catch up on your 2 leaders of Draper and Larson as they have to deal with some lap traffic in the intersection. So it is not the highest car count we've seen, but it's definitely one of the strongest fields of Stinger 8s.
Big car count doesn't necessarily always mean great racing. Give me 10 quality cars and drivers over, a bunch of chafe any day as your battle for the lead heating up. Draper, Larson right in on his rear bumper cover as well.
18 laps to go for these guys, so only 12 complete. We still have a lot more racing to go for these guys, as Larson's still just trying to find a way around Draper. Maybe she's being patient for now, but I think if Beckel gets any closer in that third place spot, I think she's really going to start to put some extra pressure on the 13 car.
Yeah, the problem for Larson here is third and the rest of the field are closing in on her, so she cannot wait all that much longer. If she feels like she's got the better car, she needs to get around Draper now. That way she can try to get away and hide from Beckel and the rest of the crew that he's bringing with him.
Exactly, and the lap cars are side by side in front of your leader, so that's definitely not what Draper wanted to see, because he's got a line of very strong competitors behind them. So we're gonna have to see how they're able to do with this lap traffic right in front of them. Gonna pinch them down a little bit.
Oh, it broke really well for Draper there. They split at the perfect time, and he got through, and then they came back together, and it's kind of gonna hose, I think, Reinder's worse of anybody here. As Beckel gets through, now your top three on a breakaway, and everybody's going to take their shot at fourth.
Yeah, and it looks like maybe Goss got a little bit of a tire. Yep, there she is, turned around, that nose bent up, so hit an innocent Uke tire, and it's not quite anywhere for her to go. They're still green for now, trying to give her a chance to get it fired back up, and here comes leaders on by, and they're going to throw the caution flag.
All right, Sierra Goss, the one with the rumpled hood, and, well, let's see how it happened. One more time with a different angle.
And when the leaders are all battling in such a tight pack, it's going to be really hard to be a lap car, especially when you're stuck on the inside right there. You got a car behind you and a car pinching you down, and it just gets tagged a few times, and a lot of bumping and grinding for a lot of the drivers throughout the top 7.
Well, Sierra will be calling Gundy's Auto Recycling for a new hood this week.
As we're going to go to the Delaware file restart right here. 15 down, 15 to go for the Buzzin' Steakhouse Stinger 8 main event, as it's still Tyler Draper up front. Michaela Larson going to be to the outside to start with Jackson Beckel here. So it's going to be a very tight restart right here with a lot of quality cars still in the mix.
Green flag back out halfway point of this feature. Ish, as they come into the South Pole once again. Larson trying to force Beckel out of the line so she can try to get tucked in going to the North Pole. Can't quite make it happen, and Beckel looking to take advantage coming in and through. He'll have second at the line.
Gonna be able to completely clear the 57 of Michaela Larson, and that's gonna allow Dawson Cox to follow through, but I don't think Larson liked that too much. You're gonna give him a little bit of a bumper there, as Cox able to keep it going, as Larson's gonna go around but keep the throttle down and gonna retain her spot for the moment.
Yeah, nice save. It works.
As they are still bumping and grinding all throughout. I mean, Reinder's getting a bunch of action back there. It looks like Larson as well, Claiborne. I mean, those bumpers are going to be all sorts of beat up.
They've played very, very nice so far, and you can't imagine that it's going to stick, especially as we get down to the nitty-gritty here. Draper, Beckel, Cox, 1, 2, and 3, and Dawson, after losing the lead late in the last race, you know he's got to be fiending to try to make his way back in through, as he is pacing Beckel, and Beckel is really wearing out the rear bumper cover of Draper.
Yeah, they are definitely nose to tail, almost like old school train racing with your top 3 right now. And through all of this, I'm really surprised not to see the 70 of Brandon Limerick, your points leader. I mean, with a smaller field, you think he'd been able to work his way up faster, but it just really goes to show how tough this field is. The problems for the 57 of Larson, she's off the pace. Not sure if there was some issues there, or something wrong with the car. Comes to the stop, so she tries to get it fired back up, and no, it's a flat left front tire on the 57 car.
So Larson, who had been having a very good main event, to a stop. And I believe I see the caution flag waving around the racetrack, so that'll stack them, re-rack them, and Delaware start them once again, as we're down to 10 laps to go.
And we'll take a quick look at the replay of Larson. You see that tire down in the left front, battling with Reinders in the 40, and just one too many hits on that left side. I think it was that second hit that really cut it down. Do not go anywhere, as we still have the exciting conclusion of this Stinger 8 main event.